Here are 17 things I wish I knew before I visited Thailand. I love Thailand and it is one of my favorite countries, but there are definitely things I wish I knew before I visited the country. And that's why I've made this video, so you don't make the same mistakes that we did. Emilia and I spent 2 months traveling Thailand, and we went from the south to the very far north, and we agreed it was one of our favorite countries that we've ever been to. It's very easy if you're a first-time backpacker or a solo traveler. There are so many people to meet, and it's just an easy, great country to visit. Let's get on with these 17 things, and let's start with number 1, and that is the visa. So now, from October the 1st, you can actually get a 45-day free visa if you're from a selected 65 countries, which do include the UK and the USA. But this is only running until the end of March, the 31st, 2023. So if you're not in that period, you'll just get the regular 30-day free visa. You go to the immigration office to extend your visa, and you must bring, obviously, your passport, but a photocopy of your passport, a photocopy of your visa stamp, a little passport photo, and a printout of your flight out of Thailand. So number 2 is eat the Thai food. Honestly, it is probably my favorite cuisine in the world. It is so good, and the Thai food there is honestly so cheap, especially compared to Western cuisine. Try the street food and go to the night markets, because that's where you get really cheap, great food, and there's ones all over the country, and honestly, Thai people know how to put on a good night market. So number 3 is renting a scooter, and you can do this with a driving license. In other countries, they didn't ask your driving license, but in Thailand, it was quite important because they usually asked. To drive legally a scooter in Thailand, you actually need an international driving license. People just don't seem to have them. Just rented this bike. It's costing us 200 baht a day, and we're just gonna be exploring the island. We've just come to fill up with some petrol. It's honestly the best way to travel around different islands and different parts of Thailand, and highly recommend it. Just be very careful in the rain and on gravel, then you can come off. So number 4 is where to stay, and we pretty much use booking.com and agoda.com for all our bookings. We usually search by lowest price, and as long as the rating was okay, we usually went for the cheapest. Now number 5 is something you might not do when you're in Thailand, but if you are and it lines up, then you have to do the full moon party. It's pretty much the biggest beach party in the world, and for good reason. It is so much fun, and a lot of people on just one beach. Now if you're backpacking Thailand, you probably don't want to book in advance, but for the full moon party, you must do it, because if you don't, the price is going to be really expensive, because there already are even months in advance, and you don't want to be miles and miles away. The taxis and stuff are really expensive in Koh Phangan if you live quite far away from the actual beach. The other thing is, drink the buckets. They're really good and get you drunk pretty quick. We just got 2 buckets, 300 baht each. They're like literal slush puppies. They look sick. So when to go to Thailand? So Thailand have 2 seasons, dry seasons and wet season. Obviously the dry season from like November to March is pretty much the busiest time of the year. There are so many people there because it is dry and it doesn't rain that much. Saying that, it rained quite a lot for us. If you go in wet season, though, prices are much cheaper. There's not as many tourists. The hotel we stayed at was Marina Phuket, and that only costs £24 in wet season. But in the height of dry season, it costs up to £60 a night, which is a crazy difference. And so you'll get so much more value if you go in wet season. And honestly, sometimes it just rains in the afternoon. It's not like it's all day misery like it is here in the UK in winter. Now I'm going to be moving on to scams and things which you must watch out for. So one of the common scams in Phuket that we found, we didn't get caught, but our friends did, is the scooter scam. Basically, the police stop you if you're not wearing a helmet or you're not got an international driving license or whatever. They'll just find a way of just charging you, taking you to the police station to just get some money off you. Another scam which is common in Bangkok is the tuk-tuk scam, and they tell you to take a tour, but then they only take you like halfway, and then to get back right to the middle, they try and charge you loads of money. So just be careful when dealing with tuk-tuks in Bangkok. Moving on to number 8, and if you're like me, I always love to be connected, but SIM cards are really cheap in Thailand, and I got an unlimited data plan for just £14, or like, I don't know, $16 US, which is amazing value, and I recommend doing that. And we can always be on Instagram just scrolling and stuff. So now number 9, I'm going to be talking about itinerary for Thailand. Now a lot of people fly into Bangkok, but I've got a suggestion and why maybe you shouldn't. I recommend flying into the south, into somewhere like Phuket, and then just making your way all the way up into Bangkok and then further up north. And then you don't have to take any flights. It's probably the cheapest way of doing it. If you fly into Bangkok, you then have to go south and then you have to go back up and then north again, or north, you get what I mean. So you're pretty much saving time and cost by flying into the south straight away. Now, some of the places I'm going to list are the places you should visit, and one of them is Koh Phi Phi. Honestly, it is a beautiful island, and obviously the beautiful Maya Bay is highly recommend checking it out. It's 400 baht to go on the beach, but it is worth it. It's a stunning beach, even though it can get quite touristy. Another one is Phang Na, which is a lot less touristy and is basically like massive limestone cliffs in the water. And then you got Koh Phan Yi, this little floating village. Highly recommend checking it out. It is awesome. Another place is Khao Sok National Park. We didn't actually go there, but it is high on our list to go there next time we are in Thailand. And then further up north, check out Chiang Mai. It's got amazing night markets. There's lots of different day trips you can do just out of Chiang Mai to see the elephants and other stuff like that. Now, number 10 is about the Thai people. They are honestly genuinely so lovely, and actually lovely, you know, not like fake lovely, like they're just after your money. They were literally so kind and very hospitable. You think about how many thousands and millions of tourists who have been to Thailand, and they're still so welcoming and just welcome you with open arms to their country. Thailand is mostly Buddhist, so if you're going into a temple, make sure you cover your knees and your shoulders and just, you know, show some respect when going into their places of worship. Now, number 11 is your budget for Thailand. As a cheap backpacker, not looking to drink much, stay in the cheapest accommodation, eat the cheap food, can easily travel on under £20 a day. But if you want a little more comfort, then £30 a day will give you a lot more comfortable stuff. Obviously, you can spend way more easily, but it all depends on the individual. Don't feel like you need to spend loads. One thing to keep in mind is the north of Thailand is so much cheaper than the south of Thailand. If you've got less money, maybe spend some more time up north. Number 12 is about the ATM fees. In Thailand, you are usually charged 220 baht, which is quite a bit of money, especially compared to other countries where sometimes it's free or just a smaller charge. Way of avoiding this is to go into the bank, bring your passport and obviously your card, and you can withdraw it straight from the bank, from the people, and you usually not charged for that. But yeah, give it a go. Another thing to keep in mind, when at an ATM, the card comes out after you've taken the cash. I'm hopeless, and I had so many times Thai people have come up to me going, oh, you left your card in the machine. I'm like, I'm just so dumb. Emilia will tell you, I do it all the time. Just take the cash, remember the card. Now, number 13 is how to get around. I think Thailand is probably one of the easiest countries to travel because there's tour agencies everywhere, and this is where you can book your transport to your next city. Whether that's taking a minibus or a ferry or whatever, then this is the best way. Book with a travel agency and they'll help you. Or your hotel or hostel, they'll also do it too. If you want to go short distances, then I recommend using the Grab and the Bolt app. Honestly, it is pretty cheap there, and it doesn't mean you have to like bargain with taxi drivers and maybe you don't know the price, and even if they don't speak much English. So do that and it saves a lot of hassle. Now, number 14 is Thailand's little gem. No, it's not a place. It is 7-Eleven. 7-Elevens are literally everywhere, especially in the cities. Around Bangkok, every corner, every street, every like 50 meters has a 7-Eleven. There's a 7-Eleven here and there's a 7-Eleven just there. That's how many 7-Elevens are in this city. They have so much range of selection of food and drinks and iced coffees. They're really good. Iced coca. There's so many different drinks you can get and I love it. In other countries like the Philippines, 7-Eleven is just not as good. It doesn't have that range of variety of food. And obviously the ham and cheese toastie, that thing is famous. This cheese toastie which I got, which was 27 baht, is the big thing to try. Apparently everyone says they're really, really good. That is actually really good. It is really good. But I thought it'd be a little bit bigger because I could probably eat it in about 6 bites. If you want to have a cheap lunch, then you can have a 7-Eleven microwave meal. They're like 45 baht, and yeah, quick, easy way of having a lunch, not spending too much money. So number 15, I'm just going to spit off some quick facts which you will need when traveling Thailand. And one of these is they use the US plug socket, so you'll need an adapter from the UK or the EU or whatever. They also drive on the left-hand side, so like the British, not like they do in America. As Thailand's so touristy, loads of people speak English. An important thing to do is don't mention the king. If you want a fast-track way of getting into jail in Thailand, then say something bad about the king and you'll be, not literally, you'll just be put in jail, but just don't mention it. So moving on to number 16, and that is be careful with the animal tourism. Seeing elephants is a very popular thing to do in Thailand, but some places aren't that ethical. We actually went to a really good one up in Chiang Mai and it was amazing. It was an elephant sanctuary and I highly recommend it. I will leave a link in the description to it down below and definitely recommend checking it out. But some places you can still do elephant riding, which it's not good for the elephant. So if you want to actually look after them, then please avoid these companies, don't go with them. It's not fair on the elephants. Now, number 17, the very last one, and that is about Bangkok Belly. Well, you've probably heard of it, or if you haven't, other people call it like barley belly or Delhi belly. Just be careful with like radishes, cucumbers, tomatoes when they're washing it in the local water, because that's what can make you quite ill, is that water, and they'll wash the vegetables and stuff. So be careful. I wouldn't recommend eating them. I was like, keep your hands off. Better to be safe, because the last thing you want to do, especially if you're on a short trip, is getting Bangkok belly and basically having food poisoning. It's not much fun. Other people ask about the ice. We were fine having ice. We had a lot of iced drinks and it was fine, but honestly, if it's not a good restaurant, then maybe stay away from iced drinks. So that is hopefully everything you need to know, but if you've got any other questions, please leave them down below in the comments and I will get back to you, because I just want you to get to Thailand. It is a beautiful country and you will absolutely love your time there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was useful. Enjoy your time in Thailand and I'll see you in the next video. See you then. Bye.